We can now see that we are on the hunt for understanding our work. Our initial cry for prioritization is actually a cry for saying, what is the best thing for me to be doing? Why is it the best thing for me to be doing it? And in order to answer those questions, you actually have to examine the work that's coming towards you. So we've examined that by stack ranking and through the priority filter, by talking about the complexity or lack thereof of specific tasks. And one of the other elements in the middle of the complexity diagram there was what? How much do I not know about the work that's coming up? And what's funny is, we talked a little bit about expertise bias. When people ask us, how long is this going to take? We respond by trying to give them basically the lowest number we can. Even if we have all sorts of tricks up our sleeves by adding 20% or whatever, we want to beat our high score. We want to like Super Mario this. We want to get it done quickly, and we feel that we can. And strangely enough, we think, well, if I've done that a couple of times before, maybe I should, be able to be better at estimating my work. But what happens is actually kind of the opposite. The more we do something, the more we take it for granted, and the less time we think it's going to take. If we're overloaded and we're being pulled in different directions all the time, we actually have no idea how long something takes, and then we'll really discount it because we know what our huge workload is, and if that got done, it must have been fairly easy. So what we look at with teams and with individuals is basically, what are the unknowns in the work that's coming up? And this is kind of like how scary is it? So, here we have a bunch of things that aren't very scary, some things that are sort of scary, and the things are very scary. And what we know is that as we move up in unknowns, we become less and less clear about how long something's going to take, whether or not we're going to need help with it, whether it's going to turn out the way that we're anticipating. As our discomfort with the work that we have been given or that we've taken on or that we've invented for ourselves, as that discomfort grows, so too does our trepidation about being able to make definitive statements about how that work is going to go. But we still do it because we feel like we have to. So if we have a tool at our disposal where we can take a look at it and say, you know what? Maybe I need to think about these things a little bit. So we have not much, some and lots, which again is in our column-based format here. But if we take a look at that again, going back to the 2x2 matrix, one of the things that we developed many years ago when we were working at Spotify was that asking people to rank work by the amount of effort that they think it's going to take, or even the complexity, makes them fall prey to this malady that we have of underestimating things. And that comes from a bona fide cognitive bias that is called the planning fallacy. And the planning fallacy can be summed up as something called Hofstadter's law, which says that human beings will underestimate any complex task, even if they're aware of Hofstadter's law. So one of the things that Daniel Kahneman said in Thinking Fast and Slow is simply being aware of a cognitive bias does not make one immune to it. These things are insidious. They sit in our brains. So we need some sort of visual system to work with, and often a system that pulls us out of numeric ranking. So if we say like this is a 1 and this is a 2 and this is a 3 and this is a 5 and this is an 8, that's a numeric ranking, and it causes us to fall into the planning fallacy. So even though this seems very silly, what we found at Spotify was that if we rank things by being not at all threatening to being kind of threatening to being extremely threatening to being like, oh my God, threatening, that it stops us from being overly analytical it engages our emotions, and we have entirely different conversations about that work. So using this with a team, and we will cover this again in the team classes, but handling this either whether you're alone, with a couple of people you're working with, or with your whole team, you have entirely new conversations when you examine work via emotion, right? So emotion, your emotion, the team's emotion, customer's emotion, etc., that is all also part of the context of the work. So hope what we're beginning to see here is that when we talk about prioritization, again, like we said at the beginning of the video, we are looking for a deeper understanding of what we are doing and why, so that we get some reassurance that we think we're doing the right thing, and the people who are part of our team, or dare I say it, judging us, also feel like that's the right thing to do, so that we can act with confidence, so that we can move forward without that fear in the back of our heads that we're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. And or I guess it's up there, but for you, what has been interesting to watch is the different conversations that people have when they do something that is just literally this ridiculous, right? And you know, who knew zombie crocodiles were a thing? But if you go to the internet and do a search, you'll find that they really are a thing. So take time while you're doing your prioritization, regardless of what schemes you fall into, and make sure you are taking a pulse check of yourself and the other professionals that are working with you. How do you feel about this work? Because we will lie to ourselves until we step back and actually poke our feelings. And we're like, you know, maybe I'm a little, this looks easy, but I'm uneasy about it. So how are we going to deal with that?